Yo, what is up, guys and girls? It is Goku Mega 441 here, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. As you can see on the screen here, episode Gladiolus came out yesterday for Final Fantasy 15, and it is the first episode of three, I think. I think there's about 3 installments. I think we're getting Gladiolus, then we're getting Prompto, and then we're going to be getting Ignis. So this video is kind of like a review, my thoughts on Gladiolus, and would you buy it? Just really an answer as to whether you should buy this, whether it's your kind of thing. So it's kind of just an overview, really. First off, I just kind of need to give a little overview, I guess, of what the episode is about. Essentially, episode Gladiolus revolves around Gladio in I think it's a break between chapter 7, I believe. Gladio's going off to face the trial of Gilgamesh. And he believes this is something that will prove his worth to Noctis and the others, I believe. And it's something he wants to do. It's like a quest to find himself, I guess you could say. And it's a pretty interesting episode. I finished it a few hours ago. My first run took me around about just over an hour to complete. So it's not massively long, but it's not too short either. So I mean, what do you expect for £5? You know what I mean? It's not massively it's not a massive amount of content, but it is what it is for the money, and it's quite good too. And those fucking load screens are horrendous. They really are. I've noticed that about this game, is that the load times are insane, but I can kind of understand the deal behind it, obviously, because it's fucking it's one big load time, and then the rest of the game is seamless after that, so it's understandable. But it's not just this doesn't just come with an episode and then that's it. You do get score attack mode, which is what I'm showing off here right now. This is a capture I got earlier, so it's not live or anything, but score attack's pretty interesting. It's basically going through the events of episode Gladio and trying to get a high score, and if you get, I think, 500,000, you can unlock the rugged attire for Gladio, which can be used in this and in games. It's basically just shirtless Gladio, which is pretty fucking awesome, really. It's cool, but it's nice, and it's a nice little thing to add to the game. And I think a lot of people have been very much complaining about, oh, is it really worth the money? Is it long enough? All this stuff. You gotta take into account that it's cheap for what it is, and it's not as if they slapped a massive price on it and said, here, pay this, and then you get about an hour's worth of gameplay out of it. The fact is, the episode is about just over an hour long, maybe even longer if you take time to explore everything. And then there's more afterwards. So you get score attack mode, and that's not all. You do get a alternate version of Chapter 13. I believe it's called Chapter 13 Verse 2, which is where Noctis got separated from Gladio and Ignis. And essentially you play as Gladio and Ignis throughout that part. It's essentially what they were going through whilst Noctis was doing his thing. It's what they were doing. So it's a nice little addition, and it's pretty cool to see that they're trying to make Chapter 13 a more tolerable experience than it actually was the first time playing it, because let's be honest, it was a fucking awful chapter. It took you out of the free roam aspect of the game into a not very well structured linear section where you have to run around a corridor and fucking, shoot things with your ring, which does barely any fucking damage, and the others weren't there to protect you. So it was a very tedious chapter. It was a very annoying chapter. I remember getting so irritated at it. But I think they've updated that too, and your ring does more fucking damage now. But that's not the point of the video anyway. Episode Gladio, it's a fucking good package, honestly. I quite enjoyed it going into it, and these fights are really fucking epic. I mean, look at this. I'm fighting this massive fucking snake, and it's very cool, and I don't know, it's something a little different. It takes you out of the main game, gives you a bit more extra content. It makes me very excited for episode Prompto and Ignis when they come out. And also, getting to see Core again was really cool, because we didn't get to see much of Core in the main game. I know I know a lot of things were missing from the main story of 15. Like, a lot of things that should have been there that weren't. I can perfectly fucking say that. It was hard for me to really come to terms with 15 at first as one of those games that should be related to the Final Fantasy series, but it's steadily growing on me due to how much you realise has gone into it in the free roam. It's cool, and I think if they keep doing episodes like this, I'm not going to be massively disappointed at the price. It's essentially just like buying an episode for a Telltale game like The Walking Dead or something like that, you know. They are priced at about £5 now, and I know the new season's priced at about £5 per episode now, which, it's good for what it is. It's just over an hour's worth of content. You're not going to get much more than that, really. You got to understand that this is what it is for the money. You go with it, and it's a cool little thing to do on the side outside the main game for once, you know. It's something more to add to the experience, and I think if they keep structuring them like this, I don't think they're going to go massively wrong. The only things I ever fucking noticed that was slightly wrong with episode Gladio was probably the load time at the beginning, but that's just a minor gripe. That wasn't really much. There's a couple pop-ins here and there. I noticed Core gets stuck a fucking lot when he's following you, which I found quite funny, but I can imagine some people were quite annoyed by it. Fuck, my throat's just gone all weird. Sorry. But I can imagine some people may have been annoyed with Core getting stuck around all the time, but it's funny, you know? Maybe they'll patch it, but it's not a massive fucking problem. It's cool also, I will say, to see some new enemies here. Like, there's these Grim Reaper looking motherfuckers holding their bloody... what they called those fucking axes, I don't know. I don't know. Doesn't matter anyway. It's cool to see some new enemies, and of course seeing Gilgamesh is fantastic. It's really cool, and having to take on the trials in this area, because essentially you're taking on trials to prove your worth for Gilgamesh, and if Gilgamesh thinks you're worthy, then you can get the fucking, you get like a little sword at the end of it. Probably should have said no spoilers in this, because there is. It's a cool little thing, and there's some new enemies, there's some new sights to see. Obviously it's not massively long, but if you want something outside of the main game that will give you a bit of enjoyment, Episode Gladio is something you should definitely pick up. It's something you should give a go, and it's like any DLC for any game. It adds a bit to it, and it makes it a bit more of a fun experience. It does make me very excited for Episode Prompto, as well, as I've said before, because it's very interesting to see the backstories of the crew outside of Noctis, because obviously you don't get to hear much about them, you know, outside in the main game. You don't get to hear much about them because you don't get to really get a perspective into their past, because Noctis had, you know, his flashbacks when he was a kid with Luna Freya and all that stuff. You're getting kind of a little bit of this here. And Prompto, the reason that's got me so excited is because Prompto's backstory intrigues me, just the way he goes on about certain things in the main game, and I think that's going to be really fun. And this is a pretty cool area here where I'm fighting this first boss for the trial here. It's a really there's a really cool set of enemies here, and of course Gladio's got some pretty cracking abilities too, some new stuff. It's nice being able to test out the powerhouse that is Gladio, and being able to see him in the main game, it made me want to play as him, and I wasn't disappointed coming into this, honestly. I really wasn't disappointed. So the bottom line really is this add-on worth it? I'd say so. For the money they're charging for it, why not? You're getting a bit extra, you get like a sword at the end of it for completing the main episode, and then you've got score attack to mess about with for a couple of hours, because fucking hell, I know I am going to try to unlock the bloody rugged attire, that's for sure. I tried doing it earlier, failed miserably, but it's something new to add to it. It's more content, and it's something to add up to carry over to the main game as well, like this extra outfit. So I would say it's worth it. I don't know where the criticism really comes into it, because I had a really good time with this, and I'd go back and probably play it again to get a quicker time, maybe. Maybe do like, you can do a little speed run it, because you get a little certificate at the end that says the time you completed it. It's worth doing, and I think you guys should go for it. Honestly, I'm telling you that now. And here's hoping that episode Prompto and Ignis will be just as, just as good as this. Anything with a little bit of backstory to it for the characters and a little bit of a side story outside of Noctis is absolutely fine with me. So yeah, I do recommend episode Gladio, and here's looking forward to what's to come, eh? So no, I'll keep you posted on all that stuff. I'll probably do like another narration for another review of the other episodes that come out. But yeah, episode Gladio. Bottom line, get it. Really cool. Yeah, have some fun with it, guys, And I hope you enjoyed this little bit of commentary here and review. Bye. See ya.